Hello everyone, welcome to Challenge to Build. In this video, it is going to be part 2 of installing the Airlift 3H manifold system. I started this project yesterday. I did a little bit of prelim work this morning by cutting some rubber spacers for up underneath the manifold. Got them drilled out. I got my plate cut yesterday, and you can kind of see the layout. I kind of have everything centered up to where the manifold system is going to go. So I'm going to get ready to drill some holes in this, so this way here I can mount the air manifold. And then I also have 4 of my spacers cut and threaded already. So this way here, it's kind of like an assembly day today. And if we're lucky, I will be able to get it mounted up underneath the truck today. Now if I did everything correctly, I got my plate drilled out. I have 1 inch by 4 inch, half-inch thick rubber washers that I cut. So they're going to get installed like so. The air manifold system mounts with 5/16 bolts, and I have the hole drilled out on my plate at 3/8 of an inch to give me a little bit of wiggle room with the bolt. So this way here I shouldn't have any issues mounting it up. Something like that. This is what the mounting looks like for the air manifold. I got the 1/2 inch rubber in between the manifold and the plate. This way here kind of isolates any possible vibration that you would get from just normal road driving conditions. Now what I'm going to do is mount the spacers that I have cut onto the back side of the plate. And this way here, once I drill the holes in the frame, I'll be able to mount this onto the frame rail, and eventually I'm going to make a cover, like a little cover box, to be able to mount over this to protect this from road grime and any kind of moisture or weather that would get thrown up in the area. So that's the next process for me. I wonder how many times I'm going to take it apart and put it together before it's finally installed. That'll work. That'll work beautifully. You just never know when you're going to need the small magnet clamps. That'll work perfect. That's basically what it's going to look like. So I'm going to go change some things up. I'm going to get you under the truck with me, move the cameras. We're going to test fit this before I weld all these into position to make sure this fits the way that I want it to. Once we do the test fit, then I'll bring it back up and finish fully welding everything. And then the next step will be to drill the holes in the frame rail for this piece. That'll work beautifully. Alright, the test fit is good, so I'm going to go take it and fully weld everything. Now I have the spacers welded to the plate. It was test fit, everything fits pretty good. I'm going to let this cool down and then we're going to go for mounting this onto the truck. So what I'm working on now is I took a piece of cardboard a little bit larger than the piece that I'm working with, and I'm basically going to make a template for where I need to drill the holes on the truck, and I just flip the bracket over. All I'm doing is using the cardboard as a template, and I'm going to just take a rubber mallet. Make a couple indentations on the cardboard, and I'm going to center punch in the center of the indents, and then use this as a template for the frame as far as where I'm going to drill the holes. Make sure when you're drilling through the frame there's nothing on the back side either. I know there's a wiring harness back there that I'm going to have to move. That's a serious frame rail. What I'm going to do is step it up from a 5/16 to a 1/2 inch, so this way here I don't have to fight drilling so many, fight drilling such a large hole in the frame. So now I'm going to go ahead for a trial fit up. See how we're doing here. And unfortunately that didn't work at all. Well then. So the problem that I have now run into is what I should have done is take my cardboard template that I had and put it on the inside of the frame, because now the spacers that I welded to the back of the plate, the bottom ones are too high up. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to cut the back spacers off this plate and move them down, so that way I can at least use the two bottom holes that I just drilled. And I have to be careful because I have a whole bunch of brake lines and fuel lines right here. So if at first you don't succeed, try again. Hopefully I don't make the same mistake twice. There's one. There's two. There's three. 4 doesn't line up. Figures. I'm not having good luck today, fellas. I really am not. But I'm not afraid to show it. So what the problem is, I'm really struggling trying to see. So with the way that I'm trying to mount this up under the frame rail, I was able to drill the bottom two holes on the outside of the frame, which was really easy and gave me a lot of clearance. But the top two holes, I can't, because the drill's not going to go high enough to the cab of the floor. So I'm trying to drill the top two holes on the inside of the frame rail like you just watched. The problem is I can't use my template that I made for the holes because I can't get it in up behind the brake lines. So I did try to measure them up. I put this up in place and then tried to scribe where the top two spacers were. And unfortunately, I must have misscribed where one of them was. So this one is probably a good 1/4 of an inch to the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, rather than drilling or oblong in the hole, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off and then just move it over. Hopefully, what I'll do is I'll move it over, I'll tack it, check the fitment, and then if it's in the right spot, go ahead and weld it up. Ultimately, when I try to do things like this, it's always put it together in the position that it needs to be in and then weld everything. But unfortunately, I can't really do that in that location because fuel lines, brake lines, clearance, gas tank, so the list kind of goes on. So I'm trying my best to get it in, and I am struggling today. So that's basically what the manifold system looks like mounted to the plate. You can see that it's isolated on the rubber mounts here, and then it bolts in from behind with two 5/16 bolts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you guys back under the truck, and then to wrap up part 2 of the installation of the manifold, I'm going to install it onto the truck and wrap up the video. That's 1. That's 2. I think that was 3. I got to check 3. Number 4 is tricky because the cab is right there, and the way that the cab is made, there's like a piece of sheet metal that's in the way. All right. So the plan, once I get all the lines run, is I'm going to make a box, a sheet metal box, that I will be able to bolt to this 1/8 inch plate to cover this, and then have all the lines right here out underneath. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, I might actually drill another hole for the actual mount and move it up closer to the top of the frame rail, just to give me a little bit more clearance down here at the bottom. Now that I can physically see it together and see what I'm working with, I might just do that. I'll take it. Thanks for watching. This is part 2 of the installation on the Airlift Performance manifold system. My name is Paul Michael. This is Challenge to Build, and I will see you all in an upcoming live stream and or video.